I just went and donated the rest of that stuff. I feel a million times lighter. I feel so good knowing that I have pretty much everything in here. There are some things still that like could probably go, but I've probably downsized like anywhere from 25 to 50% of the things that I own, and that just feels so good because everything that is left just like feels so much more intentional, and it's easier to find things, it's easier to keep things clean. It's just, I'm very happy. Anyways, welcome back. It's Monday night. After I went and donated the stuff, I got myself a coffee and some pizza. Not the healthiest, but I'm gonna have a writing night tonight, so I wanted to get some coffee because it's like 4 p.m. and I'm already exhausted, and I would like to stay up until at least 10 p.m. so that I don't like fall asleep at 9 or 8 and wake up at some ungodly hour in the morning. And I still have work to get done tonight, so coffee. Right now I'm gonna sit down, have my pizza, have my coffee, and I'm just gonna listen to some voice notes that Autumn sent me. I'll link Autumn down below. If you're not already subscribed to her, you should be. I was asking her some questions about something that I was kind of stuck on with like the part of the manuscript that I'm working on for Between the Waves. So I'm gonna sit down, chill for a bit, listen to those messages from her, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what my approach is for draft 3, because it's changed quite a bit over the past 2 months, honestly. It's still not done, and it's changed a lot.
Balancing on a weary line, too scared to trust you and jump down. I'll keep my status quo up here, won't let anybody come near. I'll fix it on my own. 29 years I've been the same, trying so hard to run from shame. But how long can I keep up the pace? To fool myself, I don't need grace. Will you be there to catch my fall? Need to be sure you'll hear my call. Darkness around me and I don't know why it's so hard.
If you notice that I'm wearing the same sweater throughout this entire vlog, even though this is going to be over the course of a couple days, it's because I just got it from the thrift store, and I feel like when I buy something new, I will literally wear it every single day for at least a couple weeks. It's currently 10 a.m. on Tuesday. I was up at 6 this morning, felt great. I just love being up early. I've needed my sleep lately, and I'm still trying to get my sleep just by going to sleep earlier, but I really just love being up in the morning before other people are up, because I feel like I can like get a handle on things, and I can have a slow start, and I can like get my workout in and make myself a good breakfast and like have a meditation and kind of just like get those like self-care things done before the day starts. So I went for a walk for like an hour and a half this morning, which was amazing, and then I started working as soon as I got home. So I've been working for probably 2.5 hours already this morning on web development. I want to work for at least 1 more hour today on this one client, and then I have a physio appointment, which I need because I've been doing a lot more like pull-up things, pull-up movements just with the sports that I do, and I've noticed that my shoulder does this weird like clicky thing, and it's not super happy with that movement, so I need to get on top of that before I accidentally mess it up or make it worse. So I have a sports therapy appointment, and then I should be back shortly after noon, and then from noon to 3 I have like a block of time that I want to use to finish up any of this client that I need to. And then I'm currently doing mobile responsiveness on another client, which is basically where I just take like the desktop website and I make it so that it shows up nicely on mobile, which is really important these days because everyone looks at websites on mobile. So it's arguably almost more important than having the desktop site looking nice. I also need to do a quick revision on a design and send that out to another client, and then probably 30 minutes or so of revisions on a design for a third client. I don't think that one will take very long because I've already done quite a bit of it, but I kind of just wanted to like keep chipping away at it. So I'm hoping, I don't know if this will happen because I'm really bad with like conceptualizing time, but I'm hoping those things will take less than 2 hours in total, which leaves me with at least a full hour to work on story stuff. And I'm super excited about working on story stuff. Last week I had 2 calls with Autumn, which was amazing. Autumn Ashley here on YouTube is my critique partner, and we're just like writing buddies. So we try to have calls and like talk about our stories and like talk through anything that we're stuck on. So I kind of mentioned this in the previous vlog, but while we were chatting, Autumn mentioned, because I was struggling a little bit with kind of the structure of Between the Waves. Obviously I'm replotting for draft 3, and the way that I'm replotting is by using basically everything that I want to include from draft 1 and 2. And if you haven't been following along the videos, draft 1 and 2 are actually different plots. They have similar things that happen, similar plot points, but things are in a different order, and they also have varying backstories, so they're kind of two different manuscripts. Obviously, I've only written so many manuscripts in my life, but I will say I would not recommend doing it this way. I've explained in previous videos why I did it that way and why it ended up happening like that, but now I'm at this point where I'm combining them, and I was kind of struggling with how to combine them in order to make it the strongest plot points of the two drafts. And Autumn mentioned that I should write out the timeline of the entire story, because also Between the Waves is going to be more than one book, so it's going to be a series, even if it's just a duology. I was initially looking at it as a trilogy. I'm not really sure if it's going to be a trilogy or a duology. Don't know. Don't want to like confirm anything because I'm still working through that. But she mentioned that I should try and write out every single plot point that I have and every single piece of the timeline that I already have in the overarching story, so in the entire storyline of this series. And then from that timeline I can kind of see if the place that I'm starting and ending book 1 is the strongest place to do so. And that's already been wildly helpful. I've already started doing that and kind of like listing out events that happened before the beginning of Between the Waves and events that happened after the book starts, and kind of taking a look at whether that's the strongest approach. And so far I've already concluded that I actually think that it needs to start earlier, and the timeline needs to kind of like shrink a little bit, just because I'm also someone who I like a fast-paced adventure book, you know? So I would like to try and write it more fast-paced, and I think that restructuring the timeline that I have is obviously really going to support that kind of pace. So that's what I'm going to be working on with writing today, and I think that if I give myself an hour, that should be enough time to finish off this timeline document that I'm making. And from that, I can look at what needs to be done, like how the timeline of the actual books needs to be like adjusted in order to make it the best that it can be. For now, I'm gonna do a bit more development. I'm gonna have a bit more coffee and then go to my sports therapy appointment. My brain just stopped working there. And then we're gonna come back and see what we can get done as far as like author work goes. I have made so much progress on this timeline. I got up this morning and tried to do some writing. It's Friday morning. This vlog is gonna go up in like 30 minutes. But I got up this morning hoping to get the writing done. I've done like so much client work this week that the writing really took a backseat again, which is unfortunate, but I feel like I'm ramping up, you know? Like I feel like I did a lot more this week than I have done in all of the previous weeks, so I'll take that as a success. But I figured I would get up this morning just because lately I've been finding it very easy to get into client work, just because I just really enjoy all of the client work that I'm doing, and I've enjoyed like everything from design to coding to whatever I'm working on. So it's been easy to get into that. I am also someone who can focus better in the morning generally. I like to get up early, and usually whatever I start my day with is what I have the easiest time kind of like getting into. So I got up this morning and immediately started writing, and it went so well. I wrote out, I have like a 2,200 word document now. I have a pretty clear plot for the first book. A lot of it is very similar to what I had before. It still pretty much ends the same as it was going to, but the setting has just changed a little bit. And then I also made the timeline start a little bit earlier, because I also felt like I was doing this thing where I was filling the fun and games portion of the book with filler. I think that I was starting too late in the story. I think that the way that I have it now is going to be a better timeline. It's going to be a stronger inciting incident, a stronger start point, a better status quo that we're starting from, so that we can really see the contrast between like where Amaya is coming from to the journey that she's about to go on. And I also think because I've almost condensed the timeline, all of the stuff that's happening almost feels more important, I guess, because there were just quite a few things that were happening before in the plot that I felt like I was using to kind of just fill the time and fill the manuscript, because it felt like I knew the point I was starting at and the point I needed to get to, and it almost felt like I was trying to come up with things to fill the act 2 of the story, things that didn't necessarily connect with the subplots and plot lines that are like running into the next story or into the next book, for example. And I feel like by moving the starting point of the story back quite a bit, it actually gives space for more important things to happen in the middle, if that makes sense. Because there are things that happened before the original plot, like before the original plot started, that are really important things, and I think it would actually be more important to write about them and put them in the story rather than just having them as like the backstory. So I got the entire timeline of the first book written out, and then most of it of the second. I think the second's going to be a little tough. I know where it starts and I know how it ends. I know a couple things that happen in the middle, but I think that a couple of the other plot points that are going to happen in the middle of the second story or the second book, I'm gonna probably come up with as I redo and edit this first one, and kind of like create that manuscript that's draft 1 and draft 2 shoved together, plus basically an entirely new act 1, because we're starting so much sooner in the timeline of events in the world. So that's the point we're at. I'm so excited. I feel really good about the story. I was really getting into the groove this morning. Unfortunately, I do have a work meeting in like 45 minutes, so I need to get this video uploaded, and I'm gonna have to stop writing for a bit, but I'm hoping to get my work done early today so that I can continue working on the story, or at least work on it this weekend, because we are on a roll as far as the plotting goes. I also think I'm gonna try and go even further into detail for the plot, just because in the past I've been a pantser and it hasn't worked very well, and I like pantsing, but I don't know if that's the strategy that I should be taking as a new author to try and finish a multi-book series. I just don't think that's gonna work. I think there's too much to keep track of, and I'm not experienced enough at the story structure and keeping track of those sorts of things to just like pants the whole thing. Now that we've got a really strong timeline, my next step is to flesh it out a little bit more, and also make a clear separation between book 1 and book 2. And then also with that plot line for book 1, I need to go through and finish making my draft 3 revision plan, because that is also going to include some things that have to do with like the main characters' characteristics and goals and wants and needs and all of those things, because those are some things that I was fairly unclear on before, but now I'm much more clear on. So it's time to finish making the official draft 3 revision plan, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna end this vlog here just so that it can go up, but I'm gonna start one probably immediately after, because I think we're really getting back into writing. I want to make sure I'm doing it every day and make sure that I'm like committing to this, and I'm really excited to get back into it. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.